Howdy y'all, today is March 6th. I'm walking up to that green strip. I don't think you can really see too much of a difference in a camera here, but this is the green spot that runs through the property. You can tell the grass is doing really well, a lot of extra nitrogen. But yeah, that green strip out here is looking really nice, really thick, really full. Just about out of the green strip, and you can tell quite a big difference. The grasses aren't really popping. Clover's still kind of coming out, but it's definitely not as good looking as out there. The marans have been doing really good, starting to get a pretty consistent supply of eggs. You can tell they're still pretty small though, because I can fit 5 eggs in one hand. Probably fit even more, honestly. Starting to see just a little bit of color in the bulbs that I planted, but the ones that I just recently planted are coming up as well, which is pretty cool. So we've got some of these smaller ones just starting to poke out, even smaller yet, some of those. So that's really cool to see. Starting to see just a little bit of color on these lilacs too. The wind is miserable today. It's actually not as bad as it has been for the past few hours, but it's just whipping through here. And it's just taking all the heat out of the sun. I mean, it doesn't feel terrible out, but it's also not really motivating to want to do any work outside today either. So I've mostly just been hanging out inside the barn. Howdy y'all, today is March 17th. It's a little breezy. I'm mad. Last night I was trying to get that YouTube video going and I accidentally deleted the whole thing. So that was a little frustrating. So instead of recreating it, I just popped up that quick little 5-minute clip of just some highlights that happened. But anyways, today, it's already kind of late in the day. Later in the afternoon at least. It's kind of breezy and cold. So I'm just going to knock out chores today. Water everything and call it a day. Howdy, yeah. Today is March 19th, officially spring. Well, we still got a few hours till it's official, but calling it the first day of spring. Anyways, yesterday it was getting super cold last night, so I did cover up my lilac bushes here. So I'm gonna uncover them real quick. It actually didn't even frost, it just got pretty cold. It was high 20s, so pretty chilly. And these things are already starting to bud out, and I didn't want anything to happen to them, but they'll be just fine. It's so windy out here, I don't even know if there's much of a point putting this fence up. It just blows right over. There's a couple solid stakes, but most of the bottoms on this net are bent. You can kind of see it on this one. So they're not going straight down. It's because this is plastic and that should be squeezed in, but it's not. So this actually doesn't help anything. It pushes it out of the ground more. I'll still put it up. You can just see how windy it is. Everything the chickens kick up, it just gets caught in the coops. Crazy windy. Luckily it's not cold out. It's just that breeze isn't fun. This wind is whipping at about 25 miles per hour. I've pulled the chicken coops in this much of a breeze before and it hasn't been an issue. The only difference was I was running north to south, not east to west. And you can see this coop's already drifted like crazy. I put the food in the middle, came back to do their water, and it's already starting to slide. So this is the first time that the coops have actually moved around on me. So I may need to do a little something to help brace that up. But I'm going to try to pull this coop back to where it should be. That coop just keeps on sliding, so I'm going to grab a spike and drive it in the ground behind the coop there so it doesn't push it back. The audio on these clips is probably terrible, so I do apologize. Hopefully it's not too bad. But anyways, I'm putting that spike behind there. The front coop needs it. The others are all stacked diagonally, so they're all supporting each other. It's just that front coop doesn't have anything to blow back on. And I don't want that coop sliding and squishing on my chickens. So I definitely want to make sure that's going to get staked up good. I have this large iron spike that I'm going to put in the ground. this coop's holding it up. So far this back coop isn't moving. This one's a little heavier. It's got a little extra on the front, so it's probably helping it out. I put the fence in at a pretty hard angle, so we'll see how well it holds up. I can imagine the wind's still probably going to take it, but I have them bent in toward the wind pretty good, so we'll see. There's just a lot of drag in here. It's between the posts, and it just knocks it down pretty quickly. So Blacktail and French Fry got into it pretty bad the other day. So Whitetail's up front, he's got the white feather. Blacktail's in back, he's got the long black feather. It's just the easiest way to tell them apart. So anyway, I had Blacktail in over here with these girls for, I don't know, 3 days at the most. There's only maybe 10 hens in there. I just threw him in there because he was walking that way, and it was kind of late. So anyways, since there's not many hens in there, he was starting to beat him up a little bit. So I put him back out with the roosters, but he thought he was somebody, and he challenged French Fry, which was not a good idea, because French Fry put the hammer on him. So you can see they're both a little bloody from yesterday. They're not bad or anything, but I did see him fighting, so I put Blacktail in that second coop over there, just so that way they could reacquaint and he could chill out. But French Fry had him cowered down, clumped up in the net. That was kind of a pathetic looking sight. So they're all good today though. It just took a little bit of knocking down on the totem pole from Blacktail there. But I'm glad they're all good now. So last week's video was pretty short, but I did put together a new beehive. You can see kind of the two parts there. It was a big one. It was 2 deep boxes, 2 supers, all the frames, and then this painted part down there is a screen bottom board. It came with a solid bottom board. I don't like those, so ordered that separate. It wasn't wax coated or cedar, so I had to paint that one. But the bees are actually shipping out this week, so they could potentially be here by Saturday, which is super crazy. So I ordered 2 packages. I still have 1 more hive to put together. Came in the mail 2 days ago, maybe. I have enough to get going as far as boxes and everything right now without assembling that other hive just yet. But I do want to go ahead and get that done. And I'm pretty excited. I may have 6 colonies this year. We'll see how well the other 2 colonies that I currently have are doing, seeing if I can make some splits on that. I know I'll be able to, at least with 1. The other colony was kind of small, but once again, I haven't even been in the hives yet this year, so I don't really know. So next warm day, we'll plan on doing that. Update in the grow room. So over here on the left, I planted the rest of my black creme. Looks like a few are just starting to come up, which is pretty cool. The other day, I planted some yellow pear here. Not quite finishing off that pack, but a few in there. These over here are the second batch of Brussels sprouts. Looks like a few still have yet to come up, but those are looking good. All these tomatoes are looking really nice. So there's a couple different varieties in there. Yellow Perfection, Baxter's Bush Cherry, San Marzano, and Red Brandywine. So those are looking nice. This one, I don't know, these 2 are kind of stunty looking. Over here we've got a lot of peppers, lots of variety. We have some eggplant even. So everything's looking really nice here. Got some potatoes hanging out there. Looking over at the other table, I just turned these around, but I don't remember what these are. This is one of my mom's trays. Over here we got some onions still. They're coming up. I just keep planting them every now and then, so they keep on coming. Lots of tomatoes coming up here. More peppers, more tomatoes. I'd imagine these are all tomatoes here. More peppers. Some of the broccoli was looking big enough to start transplanting, so my mom did that the other day. Here's the other broccoli down here. I believe in here we have some potatoes starting. Over here is my first batch of Brussels sprouts. I may have killed some off because I left them out overnight and forgot about them. And then I don't really know what's back there. I know that's carrots there, and looks like some more peppers in the window. So there's a ton of stuff going on in this room up here. We're keeping it about 80 degrees. It could be a little more humid. Right now we're sitting at 52, but things are doing really well in here. So definitely a better start this year than last year. And my mom threw a new term on me just a few days ago. First I thought she was pulling my leg, and then I had to look it up. But she said her potatoes had to chip for a little while. I hardly said it with a straight face. But C-H-I-T, I'd never heard of the term before, so I had to look that one up. But I think she was letting them do that and then decided against it. I think she went ahead and just planted it. So I'll have to check back in and see what she actually did on that. But I'm pretty sure she's not letting them chip. She's just letting them, or just putting them right in. The wind is absolutely terrible out there today, so I'm not doing any more recording out there because I don't think you can hear me that well anyway. But so far I've done a little bit of weeding in the front flower beds with all the bulbs that are coming up. And right now I'm working on the hive stand. It's had time to settle and it's tilting a little bit too much one way, so I'm just kind of leveling that out. And I'm actually adding a couple more cinder blocks in the middle just to keep it nice and strong, because I will have 2 hives out there and that can get pretty heavy. Since it was so windy today, I decided to do a little bit of a hive repair and whatnot. So I did a lot in the barn with what I had out there, but then I stole this white hive and I'm gonna work on that. I also want to put together that new hive that just came in the mail as well. And overall just grab some bee things while I'm over here, because my drawers are not having much luck. Everything got wet, so just gotta dry it all out. Howdy, yeah. Today is March 20th, beautiful sunny day. It's still a little breezy, but definitely not as bad as what it was yesterday. It's a little cooler than yesterday, unfortunately. I think we're sitting in the mid 40s, high 40s, so it's not terrible out with the sun. But once again, that wind just takes it right out of you. So today I'm going to start off with chicken chores, getting that done, and then we will start working on beehives. I definitely want to get this spike out of the ground so I don't run over it this spring with the mower. All the chores are done, minus watering plants. Last night, I did take this and wash this out pretty good. It was getting gross. I washed all these out so they're nice and clean. I'm gonna have 2 different systems here. I'm gonna have 2 beehives out here. One hive is going to have this in-hive feeder, which is pretty handy. And then all you do is put the top cover on that and the bees can get up underneath that and eat. For this other hive, what I'm going to do is rig something up. I'm going to have 2 jars full of sugar water here, and well, let me just set it up real quick. Okay, it's a little easier explaining it when you can see it, but I have this board here. They always send these things and I don't really use them that much, so I'm just going to use that as a bottom. The bees are down in here, they can come up. I'm going to have a couple little jars of sugar water here that they can get in. And then this box isn't going to have anything else. I'm just going to put the cover on top. We'll see how this works. This might become a mess, and if they start building comb up in here, then I will modify this where this is closed off and I'll actually cut holes and just only have that sticking down. We'll see how it works out, but I'll be checking these 2 little feeders quite often, so I doubt I'm going to see too much activity up in this top box. They're going to be solely focused on the bottom. Since the bees are shipping out late this week or this weekend, I do want to make sure I have these 2 hives out here set up, because the 2 packages I have coming I will put out here on the farm. So I just want to have that completely done so I don't have to worry about it when they do show up. Since I accidentally deleted last week's video, you didn't get to see this new tool in action. So my dad got this not too long ago, and it's a battery operated nailer. So I'm super excited. This thing makes it so easy. In the past, I had to hook up the air compressor and there's just cords everywhere and it just wasn't much fun. So this is just so much faster. So what I'm doing is I'm just checking the frames, making sure that they're all held together pretty well, especially these frames that aren't drawn out because I haven't used them. Usually the other ones the bees have used, they've propolized it so well, it's just like super glue and you don't really need to do much. I'm also scraping off any burr comb, which you can see they were starting on the edge of that. I scraped a bunch off yesterday, which is what all that is there. So you can look all around the edges of this frame and you can just see that the bees have glued this down super well. They haven't completely drawn the frame out, but they've definitely tacked it in there. Unlike the other frames that haven't been used at all, there's just a ton of space in there. So once the bees get a hold of it, they stay pretty strong. Since it's so windy out, it's just easier to talk in here before I take this hive out. But on the bottom, we have the screen bottom board. Put on an entrance reducer. We have a deep. I went ahead and put the large feeder on this hive and then just the top cover. So this hive is ready to go. The only thing I would like to do is on the frames that aren't drawn out, the two on either side. I would like to get some wax on those frames, but they're not going to be on that for a while. I do have wax on the way, but if it doesn't get here on time, it's not the end of the world. But if it does get here, then I'll just quickly put some wax on there. That just helps the bees draw those frames out faster. So the box on the left is actually a screen bottom board, deep, super, top. So it's exactly what that is, but in cedar. So I've got to put that together. I also want to use this hive to partition out some resources because this hive is full of drawn out comb in the super and the deep. So I'm going to also do some repairs on this coop, anything it needs done. It needs an entrance reducer. So I might make one of those as well. But first, it looks like my dad is back with a trailer full of wood, so I'm going to help him unload that. This new hive came with a really fancy screen bottom board. It's got this nice thing that slides out. It's attached to a piece of wood. No, I'm not going to use that little insert, but it's pretty cool. Getting the second hive set up out here. So far I've got that nice screen bottom board, entrance reducer, deep box. I did the same thing. I put 2 empties, 4 drawn out, 2 empties. That way they stay in the middle, can work out. And then I just have a top board here and the 2 feeders. And the lid actually fits my honey jars. My honey jars are kind of small though. I'm gonna see if I can find a larger like canning jar that'll fit that lid. I know I have some. I have a little plastic one that's about double in size, so if nothing else I can run to Tractor Supply and they have those plastic ones. But I think I have some glass ones. Those will just pop on like that, and then I'm going to put a box over everything. Howdy y'all, today is March 22nd. Plants are looking great. We've got a lot of tomatoes starting to sprout now, which is really cool to see. Got some of these new ones that I just planted, some that are just barely starting to pop up, so it'll be cool to see them start coming up, but everything's looking great up here. Also have some exciting news. The bees did in fact ship out late on Thursday, so yesterday. They're coming from Georgia. They're currently, well, at least as of this morning, they were in North Carolina, so they should be making their way here hopefully sooner than later. And the chickens are done. There's a little bit of rain moving in. You can actually see it kind of back there a little bit. But the other day when I got the beehives all ready to go, I was gonna leave them out, but I didn't have anything to strap them down with. I had ratchet straps everywhere. They weren't all at the farm. So I have them now. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the hives out, ratchet them down. And the weather, it's definitely not as warm as I was hoping it would be, so instead of doing sugar water for the bees, I'm gonna just feed dry sugar instead. Make like a candy board for them basically, and then they'll be good. But I am gonna go ahead and put some more straw in the nesting boxes out here because it's all gone. That was the first time putting bedding in the nesting boxes since Houdini died, so that's a little sad. Normally she sees it coming and is already in the nesting box waiting for it, but this time no chickens, so maybe the bedding will actually stay in there a little longer, which would be nice. So I'm gonna do these beehives real quick, get them strapped down, kind of reset up so that way I can feed the dry sugar versus sugar water, and then we'll be set. The hives are strapped down and ready to go. Excited to put some bees in there.